Good morning, Seller Sessions, all the way from California. Isabella Hamilton, and I have with me one of my favorite people, Tomer Rabinovich. How are you?
Very good, Isabella. How are you?
Very good to see you. Very good to see you. We were just talking about working out and getting sun and all this. And I want to ask you, because I haven't seen you in a long time, will I see you this year at any conferences?
Yeah, I hope so. The plan is to be at least at the $1 Billion Summit in September in Austin. I don't know if you're going to attend that one, but I'm going to be
course.
there. That's the first one coming up for me. I know everyone is going to be in Prosper, but I have to miss that one out. But yeah, that's
Is it due to just the restrictions coming from your country?
I just honestly, I took on so many projects myself, during this entire year and a half. It's just crazy. So I'm just crazy busy right now. So I don't want to fly a lot by the end of this year. So that's probably why. Actually, I'm in Israel, and Israel is almost completely back to normal by now. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember we had a call with Kevin King the other day, and he kind of said the same thing. He said he's so busy, like he feels bad leaving his office just to go, to go to one of these conferences. But we all have to remember that, we all miss each other. We have to see each other at some point, and we get our energy. At least I'm speaking for myself. I get my energy from seeing my friends at conferences. So I will definitely be at Prosper, at $1 Billion Summit. I'll be to all of them if time permits. I was just looking at my schedule, like for this month is insane, and then next month again. So hopefully I'll get to be able to work in between. So what have you been up to, Tomer? Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you, which I doubt there's one person out there that does not know.
There are plenty. Right? Thank you. So yeah, I've been selling on Amazon since 2015. I have multiple brands running on Amazon for myself, and also I've been consulting 7 and 8 figure sellers for the past 3.5 years now. So I have multiple programs for advanced sellers. I never teach how to sell on Amazon. That I think there are plenty of people that do that really well. I just consult those that are actively selling, and recently also helping those that want to exit to some degree. So yeah, very exciting stuff. That's what I've been up to.
So the exiting part, is this something that you recently started doing, or that you've always done that?
No, that's something I recently started doing, just helping some friends of mine out with connecting them to some companies and things like that. Nothing groundbreaking, I will say.
Yeah, I know this is a quite a big market for all the aggregators coming in, trying to buy all the businesses. What are your thoughts on that? How can a seller best prepare their store, their brand to be sold at the highest multiple possible they can get?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, I think. No, but I really think it all starts and ends with a good product. I think if you have a good product, you have good reviews. If you have a patent, it's even better, obviously. But it all starts with a good product. If you have that, anyone will be ready to buy your brand. And also, I think everyone is very scared, you can say, about what's going to happen in a few years from now. The aggregators are taking over, and we won't have a job anymore or whatever. So I can just say that there is always going to be room for good products. So as long as you can develop good products, there is always you can see that from launching a lot of products probably. So if you have a good product, you don't need an aggressive launch probably, because it's just a good product. And the customers on Amazon are super sharp, and they can notice a good product when they see it. So that's all it really takes to have a successful business, I believe.
I see. So when you say a good product, I mean, any amazing pictures can make a product look good. I mean, can we go a little bit more into detail?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you need to. So hopefully you have some differentiator factor for your product to make it actually better than everything else. But also if you brand your product in a certain way. So if you target a specific audience in a very wide niche, an example I always give is a yoga ball. So let's say you sell a yoga ball. If I were to sell the yoga ball, I would target someone specific. But when I say someone specific, it still needs to have some search volume, because Amazon is a search engine, right? Whatever people type in, that's what they're buying. So if they don't type it in, they're not going to buy. So if you type in yoga ball 4 right now on Amazon, you're going to see 4 pregnant women, which is a very strange thing probably. But when you type it in, it just makes sense that a lot of pregnant women will buy a yoga ball for themselves, or a husband will buy them for his wife and everything. So when I would sell a yoga ball, because it's such a saturated niche, I would much rather target a very specific niche, like just pregnant women. My entire listing, images, everything will be just for that one person. And if I can improve the product to be even more stable or something in some way to make it even better for that type of an audience, that's even better. And I think that's where you really avoid like being copied a lot and being like going into like saturated niches, because not a lot are doing that strategy still to this day, especially not the Chinese sellers, I believe, are kind of just doing what they see and they just copy it. So for a lot of people, it doesn't make sense to sell a yoga ball for someone. So they sell it for everyone. But that way, if it's like a saturated niche, they're not able to make any money. So, yeah.
Do you still feel like supplements is something that people can get into these days? This is a question that I personally get a lot. I just want your opinion on it.
I'm not in supplements. I know a lot that are in supplements. I can just say that supplements are probably one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive niche on Amazon. I know people are doing really well, but I know a lot of people that tried and failed. So it is really difficult. I would not advise it to anyone starting out, obviously. But if you know what you're doing on Amazon, if you launch 1, 2, 3 products and you understand what you're doing, you can launch any product. I think that's the truth. And that's what I tell sellers. So once a seller gets to like 10, 20, 50K a month, what they need to be doing is stop launching the same products everyone is launching. They should really much rather focus on scaling their business with like bigger products, like not bigger in the sense of size, but more complex products that other people will not launch, because everyone is looking for that perfect product, $15 to $50, small, lightweight, one piece. Like everyone is looking in the same place. So I prefer looking where no one else is looking. So let's say over $50 or under 15, or a heavy product or electronic or needs FDA approval or whatever it takes, but it just keeps everyone away from competing with me. And when I see like let's say a very sexy opportunity for a product that I think is gonna be overrun the day after, I just wait a bit, and that's usually what happens. So I much rather go for after products that no one else is going for.
Yeah. So because you're consulting so many different sellers, do you still see that happening a lot, that $15 to $20, $25 product? Is that still a major price that the sellers are going for? Because I remember when I started doing this about 7 years ago, this was all the rage, and I assume that people since then have moved on to bigger, better products. Or
it just really depends. I think it's a mix. I think at the end of the day, most products fall in that area, right, of price and everything. So that makes sense. But I mean, you can still find products anywhere, right? You can still find products in that target. I'm not saying don't launch anything. I'm just saying price is not a factor. The factor you should be looking for is how much revenue and profit you're going to generate from your product per month, per year, and once you exit, for example. So that's what you should be looking for. I don't care if I sell 100 units a month for $100 each, or I sell 1,000 for $10 each. It's the same $10,000, right? It doesn't really matter. And if the same profit, let's say for both of these products, then why does it matter which product I'm going for? It doesn't, right? So that's kind of the point about this. Yeah, and also people think like if I launch a very expensive product, it's going to cost me a lot of money for the launch. But if it sells only 2 or 3 units a day, you don't need that many units to start with. You can start with like 100, 150 units of an expensive product. And on the other side of it, cheap products, people think they don't have any margin because the margin is super low on cheap products, but the ROI is amazing. You can bring like a $2 landed cost on Amazon and sell it for $12, $13. And that can be like a 300% ROI for like one product. So if you shipped 1,000 units, you could then grow to 3,000, 4,000 units in your next order. So that can grow exponentially. So cheap products, expensive products have their own place. What I always tell sellers, if they see their account with like a very cheap products, I tell them go expensive and upsell your customers kind of if you can. And then for the expensive products, I tell them launch cheap products because that's going to help your cash flow a lot more than having very expensive products.
Absolutely. Love that. And I have a friend and a client that has a very, very low cost products. And he's absolutely crushing it for years and years. And
Yeah.
people always tend to ask him like, oh my God, like, how are you making any profit? And he's literally one of my most successful clients that I
Yeah,
know
and
of.
people think like I'm gonna spend so much money on PPC. Like, how is it even gonna be worth it? So I'm telling like those same people, well, what do you think happens when you sell $100 product? You're gonna spend probably more per click, right, on your PPC. So you're gonna spend less on a $10 product. That's just how it goes when it comes to PPC and your price and everything. It just matches the price. So as long as you see there is a market for it, as long as you see some sellers selling it through FBA and they're making money and everything is okay, it means it's possible. You can do the same thing, and it's probably profitable if they're selling it, right? So
Right, exactly. Are you still launching products yourself?
yeah, I am. It's very difficult these times with all the inventory restrictions and everything, but yeah, definitely. I think any business, and you can look at any industry. It doesn't matter if it's McDonald's or if it's Tesla, if it's Apple or whatever industry, everyone is launching products. Like, you have to do that to stay fresh and stay relevant, right? That's just how business goes. So if you stop launching products, your business is going to plateau at some point. Like, it's inevitable. All products have a life cycle, right? So yeah, definitely keep launching products.
Amazing. What is your launch strategy these days? Can you
So
give us
our launch strategy is really super simple, and this cannot be done by someone who is just starting out, unfortunately. But if you're already selling, and if you have some sort of an insert, I don't care if that insert is like a warranty or a gift or an ebook or whatever you offer your customers. What you want to do is you want to tell them. So you, like, let's say, use ManyChat or whatever service you use. Doesn't really matter what you use. But as soon as they opt in, you say, okay, your warranty is activated. Then you can ask for a review if you like. And after that, what sellers do is they stop the flow. And I don't know why they do that, because right now the customer is exactly where you want them, because they just bought full price from you. They signed up for your warranty, which is what, 5%, maybe like 10% at best with your inserts. And then you ask for a review. Maybe they even left you a review, and they are now the best customer you could ask for. So why stop here? So what we do is we just send them another message saying, by the way, we just launched a new product. Do you want it for free or 50% off or 80% off or whatever? And if you have 5 or 10 people opting in your inserts every day, that's all you need to launch products. You don't need any outside services. You don't need anything. So just push your inserts, and then those inserts can really help you to launch future products very easily.
And you're saying this doesn't necessarily work for a brand new seller just because they have to invest in an extra product, or why did you say this is
Yeah,
not?
because they need, like, how are they going to launch the first product or even the second product for that matter, because they don't have enough people opting in every day. But yeah, that's what I've been preaching for a while. Yeah.
If you don't have that second product, like what can a seller do to?
Well, they can use Rank Bell all day long. I mean, I think Amazon is not giving us enough tools to launch products. They took out, like, early review program. We have Vine and we have PPC. That's it. Like, we don't have any tools Amazon is giving us, and really anything is basically validating TOS. Anything that we're gonna do is basically against TOS. So I think, I mean, either you build a brand outside or you do something, but everything is so many resources that as a, like, one-man show type of business, it's very difficult to run. So I would advise using some service that is still within the TOS guidelines and just helps you to launch that product artificially, I will say, but then build that, like, insert or list or whatever, so you could launch your future products too. But right, I think you kind of have to fake your way at the beginning.
So you don't think there's a way for a seller to come out with an amazing product and just be successful without utilizing any service or any type?
It can happen. I've seen it happening, like, multiple times and everything. But I would say most of the time, you need some juice for the product. Like, otherwise, it's just really, really difficult to launch products.
Yeah, there are a lot of gurus. I mean, quotations gurus that say, if you have a perfect product, then it will be successful no matter what. So,
well, I can say that obviously if you have a perfect product, but 99% of the sellers don't have a perfect product. They have a good product. It's a better product, hopefully, than the rest, but it's not a perfect product. A perfect product is a product that on the main image, you can tell it's better than everything else on the market. That's a perfect product, but it's very difficult to come up with and to do and develop. And for a new seller to come in with a much better product than everyone else might take a year in development. So if they have that idea, what I tell them is, that's great, develop it for the upcoming year, but in the meantime, launch other products. Like, you cannot wait a year until you launch your second product, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Right, but even if you have a perfect product, Amazon still places you at the bottom when you launch. So how do you get the eyes on your perfect product?
Yeah. So again, if it's the perfect product, you can run PPC, you can do a few things. But again, I just think it's too slow. I think all Amazon sellers are patient until their product gets to Amazon, and then they want to see the cash, right? They are patient until that point, but then they're like sick of the patience already, so they just want to start selling.
I love that. That's so true. That's so accurate. You're like, they have the patience for like 12 months, and then as soon as they launch it, why isn't my product selling?
Exactly.
I completely agree with that. No, I love your energy, and I love how positive you are. I mean, I know you've been in this game for so long, and yet you're still launching products even when it gets tough. So how do you stay so positive all the time? Where is this coming from? Is it just from experience after all these years? Because most sellers that ask this question, they're very sad. They don't want to launch any more products. They're done with Amazon.
Well, I think it's like any entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter what business you have. You have to have it all starts with mindset, right? I think it all starts and ends there. Like, if you don't have the right mindset, you might stumble upon a very good product, but it's just gonna die at some point, and you're not gonna succeed. So, yeah. So I don't really know how to answer this. I started reading like business books since I was 18 years old, and kind of worked on myself for a long time. So I think that really helped a lot with this business when I got into Amazon. This is my first real business. I never really had a business before, but yeah, I really think that everyone should be reading like business books all the time. Like, doesn't matter, or podcasts or whatever. And also, if you already know what you're doing in Amazon, like, I love all the podcasts. This is a great podcast and everything, but stop like absorbing so much Amazon related content. Absorb other business related content as well. This can really be anything, like finance. This can be like whatever it is. Like, I've been researching a lot on customer experience, for example, for the past few years, which really excites me. So just absorb other terms of like content outside of Amazon, and that will inspire you inside of Amazon. Because if you think about yourself for a second, when you got into Amazon, you got into with a set of skills, right? I was very good with Excel spreadsheets, for example. I was very good with a few things, graphic design and things like that. So that really helped me when I started my business, and I put all those skills together, and that helped me. But once you're all in on Amazon, you don't really learn anything new. So you just kind of like the same as everyone else. So if you bring more like thoughts and like ideas from the outside, that's where you can really differentiate your business.
I love that. I love that you are giving this advice to people, because a lot of Amazon sellers tend to just focus on Amazon, and it's great because I know what they're doing. They want to learn everything, and they think that will solve all their issues, but there's just so much out there, even books from 50, 60, 80 years ago that have some content that still applies to today, like customer retention. And we forgot some of these concepts, really, like being nice to your customer, actually, because a lot of people say, you know what, like, I don't care about this person, like, whatever, they hate my product. But no, you should try to really win over the customers you already have. You have to win them over and over and over again. And how are you going to do that if all you do all day is like how to win against Seller Central, which is great. You want to be able to do that too. But I think this is a powerful advice. Are there any books that come to your mind right now that you could recommend that just stand out?
How did this stand out? So one of the first books that I read on like personal development is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, or When Talking to Yourself, one of those. Great book that I highly recommend to anyone who is kind of struggling with that. So kind of like if you are talking bad stuff about yourself to yourself, then that's a great book, I think, to kind of change your mindset about that. And another one that comes to mind is I don't want to give the obvious ones out, so that's what I'm thinking about. Never Lose a Customer Again. Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman is a great book on customer experience. So
I love that. That's the one that starts with the dentist office, right?
right, yeah,
I
exactly.
remember that. What great books. Now I love reading different kind of books, and listening to podcasts is just, you just have so little time, I guess, in your
Right.
life.
And it's
You
funny
know?
that you mentioned the book because, like, last year I started writing my own book, and that's coming out probably in August or September. And that's, as far as I know, the only book for active Amazon sellers. So it's with
Interesting.
some personal stories of mine and everything, and also everything that I know about selling on Amazon, from product research, launching, inventory management, PPC, like everything, all in like condensed in a book. So if you want to write a book, don't, because it's just a lot of work. But yeah, no, it's super exciting. So that's coming out in a few months.
I love that. Are you going to sell it on Amazon?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sell it on Amazon globally. So if you are listening from India, you could probably buy that book in India. So yeah,
Are you going to do an audio version?
yeah, audio version, Kindle version, printed version, everything.
Amazing. So what else are you doing these days? You're selling a million products. You have a coaching business, right?
Right. Yeah. So I do a bit of consulting. So what I do is, the whole consulting thing started again a few years ago, kind of by accident. We just had a meeting at some friends after inventing Romania, actually. And we just thought, how can we help these people further? And what we told them is form a mastermind together, like 5 people around the same level, and just talk to each other. They did, but they didn't really help them because they couldn't grow just from talking to each other. So what we decided is to kind of give them a coach to help them out. And that's where we kind of came up with the concept of mastermind coaching, what we call it. So basically what I do is I take 5 businesses at a time, 5 Amazon sellers at a time, and they go through a 4 months process with me. So everyone shares their stores on day 1 with me, and they feel like a long form. It tells me everything about their business, everything I need to know. We validate that everyone is in a different niche, so we don't really compete with each other like directly. And then we just do a call every 2 weeks, and it's like very organized, and we talk about product selection and your systems and processes and like images and PPC and launching and everything, but everything is about their business. So if we talk about launching, we're not just talking about generically about launching. We talk about product A. Let's launch this product, and how do we launch it? Let's build a plan for this launch. And then we do it like 5 times over that call. So the calls with me are just about their businesses, and we don't waste any time on theory because they have a lot of my content in the back end, like previous lectures and a lot of content I recorded for this program and everything. So that has been my oldest, you can say, service for like 3.5 years now that I've been running, and coached, I think, over 150 people by now, and like small groups of 5 people each. And again, I really select the sellers I work with because it's like only for 7-8 figure sellers, and heard no complaints so far. So I think everything is good.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does somebody get to join that program, because it's so limited space. You only take a few at a time. What are some of the qualifications? You said they have to be 7, 8, or 9 figure.
Yeah, 7-8 figure. We do have some groups that were open just for 8-figure sellers as well. We opened a few of those this year, but mainly it's aimed for 7-figure sellers. And I can say it's also for someone who is really looking to run this as a business. Mm-hmm. They can also sell it like at some point. Obviously, we help with that as well. But I really want genuine sellers. I don't like, there are no black hat tactics inside. There are no like shady things or anything. It's just like legitimately. And you mentioned Amazon before. Everyone is trying to game the system. I was the same way, like 3 years ago. And then a massive, if you probably remember that, like a massive change in reviews. So we couldn't like ask for reviews for free, basically, anymore. And I had like very bad products. I had like 3-star products that were 4.5 on Amazon because I was just gaming the system. But at that moment when that happens and everyone said the sky is falling and a lot of people like went to 0 with their businesses, I just decided to shift gears and just partner up with Amazon and say, Amazon is the best partner I could have. I want to be in their business, and I will run the business they want me to run. I will run this legitimately and actually succeed in this business the right way. So then I kind of shifted my whole strategy and everything else and didn't look back. So that's kind of the sales I look for as well, and any of my programs, really.
I love that. That's you see it's coming back to mindset, because a lot of people just quit at that time. They said, you know what, this is getting too hard. And like you said, that was 3 years ago. So I can only imagine what those people would have done now with the limits, with the product limits. So you know,
Right.
you can stop at any time a business. You can,
Right.
it's the mindset that makes you keep on going. Doesn't matter how difficult it is. And you know, even despite all of this, there's thousands of sellers joining, I think, every single day. I think I read the other day somewhere that, you know, 2,500 sellers join like every week or so. I forgot the exact data, but it's a lot. And then Jeff Bezos says that 98% of them quit within the 3 months. So services such as yours are definitely very welcome. It's just, you know, what's that in between like? Because like for you, you only take sellers that have already made it, and then
Right.
there's all these other sellers that come in. They have been sold a dream by some guru on YouTube, and they come in, they spend their money, and in 3 months they quit. So what would you say to somebody to encourage them to stay within this path?
Yeah, so that's pretty funny. So you don't actually know this, I think, but what happened was during COVID. So I started writing my book and everything, and I didn't know how to like finish some of the chapters, and I had everything in my head, kind of, and on notes and on previous lectures that I've done on stages. And I thought, what am I gonna do? So I decided to do an online course with the same chapters as I have in the book, just to finish the book. Like that was the goal of this course. So I said it's like it costs like $500. Just join. I opened it to 100 people. It sold out within 2 or 3 days because it was only on my Facebook. It's not to brag or anything. It's just because I never offered anything publicly anywhere. Always when I speak, every time I speak on a stage or anywhere, I just give value. I never pitch myself. I never talk about anything that I do really. Or people, if they want me, they just find me, at some point. So I built that course, and then we signed up a few more people, and now it's like $1,000 course. But that course, I believe, it's called Amazon Simplified, and the whole goal, because when I started in 2015, there was barely any information out there. There were just a few courses, and that was it. But now there are so many. Like, you don't know who to believe, you don't know what to listen to. There are so many podcasts and like YouTube channels, and courses, like paid courses, free courses, like Udemy, whatever it is. It's just overwhelming. And if you talk to 10 PPC experts, you're going to get 10 different PPC strategies, opinions on how to run your PPC. So product selection is probably the most confusing one. And the whole point of Amazon Simplify is not to show just one way, but to show a few different ways of doing things, and then just showing them how I do it. And I also interview a lot of people who are in my coaching program, so they can kind of see how sellers talk and how they think and everything else. And I think that's so important, not just to show my opinion, but to show like multiple different opinions of people, so they can kind of see what strategy they relate to and what they want to go with. So that course has been running for a while, and just running on its own pretty much right now, and we're gonna push it a bit more soon. But I would advise, and that course is not, again, how to sell on Amazon. We don't teach you how to open an account or how to create a shipment. It's for those who have experience on Amazon, who are actively selling, and everything is fine, but for some reason they're stuck and they cannot scale further. And I also talk about a lot about building a team, having systems in your business, and everything else. We talked about this with Rank Bell and my consulting business in the past. Like, how do you manage your customers, right? How do you, like, all of these things that every business struggles with, and that is so important. Sellers don't really talk about how do you manage your tasks every day. How do you manage your folders in your Google Drive on your desktop? How do you communicate with your team? These questions are super important at scale. Like, if you want to scale, you have to have those in place.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So this is made for this. It doesn't necessarily apply to like us 7 and 8 figures. Somebody that's below that line can participate in this course, right?
Yeah, anyone that has live products on Amazon can definitely participate in that program, because if you don't have any live products, it won't make sense to you, I think, to sign up for. So definitely launch some products and then sign up. We also had some 7-8 figure sellers joining that course, and they loved it, and they shared it with like their team and everything to go through it. So yeah, that's I think the course is great for everyone. But if you want like more of myself, I would say, more hand-holding and everything in your business, and kind of my direct impact on your business, then the Mastermind Coaching Program is definitely the one to go for.
Right. How big is your team? I mean, it seems like you're just doing so many things. You must have somebody that's supporting you in the back.
Yeah, so in the Philippines, I have 7 people working for me for a while now, and that's I kind of talk about my team structure and everything in those programs. There is also on my website, I believe I sent you the links you could post, but like a free, like a lot of lectures. So recently I was talking at SellerCon. That's actually how I started with Amazing Selling Machine. That's how I started Amazon. So on SellerCon, I talked about this exact thing, so they can just watch that lecture. It's all free on my website. No need to. I don't need your email, so you can just go ahead and watch it. But sorry, what was the question? I forgot.
Your teams.
Yeah, my team. So yeah, 7 people in the Philippines, and then in my consulting business, I have 2 people based in Israel and a few more overseas that kind of support me and everything. But I can say that everyone but one, who is like the technical guy on the team, everyone have been through my coaching programs in the past and kind of either sold their business and kind of wanted to work with me and everything, or still running their business and kind of helping me on the side. So that's kind of who I like to have around me, and I prefer. I know Danny talks about this a lot, but I prefer having a very small team and not a very big team, and running multiple businesses at a time. I feel like that's gives me much more freedom than running a very big team.
I love that. So you don't actually go outside and hire from the outside. It's usually somebody that's in your program that just stands out due to their
Yeah, that just for the consulting business. For the Amazon business, it's all based in the Philippines, and everyone I hired came with zero experience when I hired them. But I hired them at the right time, I will say. So I was relatively small back then, so it was the right time. But when I talk to sellers these days, let's say you are already doing close to 7 figures or already 7 figures maybe, and you have like one VA in the Philippines, or you have no one to support you, and they ask me, what do I do? Like, they want to start like delegating tasks and they don't know what to do. They have so much going on. But this one guy in my coaching recently, he was working 16 hours a day. And on the first call with me, he said, look, I want to launch this product and this product. And this. I'm like, you need to launch some employees. You don't need like any new products
right.
anytime soon. And that's what we worked on. So that guy is a bit older and everything. And he said, look, I told him, I don't see you right now teaching people in the Philippines how to do Amazon. So I told him, why not hire someone locally, like a smart, sharp person, intelligent person, like college graduate, whatever, to run your operations side of things. They can shadow you, they can look at everything you're doing, and they will build that team for you. That's a lot easier than you going out to like trying to find your way in the Philippines and teaching them from scratch how to do Amazon when you work 16 hours a day. It doesn't make any sense. So I believe that I will just say that if you don't have any people, the first person you hire, don't just think what are they going to do in terms of customer support or PPC or product research. Don't think about that. Think about the first person I hire. I want them to become a manager someday in my business, and I want them to take more and more things upon themselves to do. So once they grow enough, they could become a manager and manage other people underneath them. Because my first mistake in my business, in my Amazon business, I had 12 people underneath me, and all were working directly under me. So basically, like, imagine I'm still like I'm very much the bottleneck of the business, right? I have all these people, some part-time, some full-time. Everyone is reporting to me, so I just found myself working a lot more and getting things like not getting them done, and it was just super frustrating. So I would highly advise, and now my structure is that I have 7 people and 2 are managing the other 5. So I would highly advise hiring people that can become managers someday, either locally or outsourced, like to the Philippines or whatever it is. But you want them to become managers, and then you can kind of release yourself from all the day-to-day stuff.
Got it. Do you recommend giving them some tasks, some personality tasks, Colby tasks? Do you work with any of those things?
So we kind of do the same thing we do with suppliers. So when you want to see if a supplier means business, you just send them a ton of questions, right? And you want to see how they kind of operate and how they go about those. So we just ask a lot of questions to the employees. It's nothing really groundbreaking. We ask them like, take a photo of your work environment, and take a screenshot of your internet speed, and what do you like to do in your free time, and like a whole bunch of questions. And we send them to like an emotional intelligence test to run, and we tell them to do an IQ test in their native language, just to see what they can cheat, right? They can do whatever they want. But it doesn't really matter. We just give them a whole bunch of tasks to do. and whoever comes up with like results and everything, and those hopefully are good results, then we know we can move forward with for an interview and everything else. And we always run a test for 2 weeks and then another test for 2 months to kind of test out the employee for both sides. That's how we kind of convey to them. So we just tell them like it's a test just to see that you like us and we like you, sort of thing, and not just like let's test you out to see if you're a good hire.
So do you pay them a certain amount for these like 2 months and a half, and then once you decide you hire them, then you increase their salary, or it kind of stays the same throughout?
Yeah, so we are paying, like, we pay 3,000 an hour again for the team in the Philippines for every hour they worked for the first 2 months, so 2 weeks and then 2 months. After those 2 months, we move them to full time, because we can see that the whole point of paying by hour is to see they have the capacity to work full time. That's kind of the goal of this, to kind of give them more and more tasks until it becomes full time. So that's what we do in the first 2.5 months. If you don't feel comfortable, just do it for longer. And if they ask you to move to globally, like to global pay, like for full salary, you can just say it's the same thing. You just need to work more hours. But after they move to full time, I don't really care how much time they work as long as the job gets done. So that's kind of how I work. I don't really look at their schedule and what they're doing at any given moment. I don't really care. As long as the job gets done, I'm happy.
Do you or a project manager gets to check in with them every day? How do you control a team that's far away?
Yeah, so I only need to talk to 2 people in my team, my 2 managers, and then they manage the other 5. So we meet once a quarter, all of us on like a Zoom call. But those 2 people already know me for a few years. So at the beginning, it was much more difficult. We had to talk like every single day to make sure everything is happening. But now we just talk once a week, and that's enough.
I love that. That's because they already know exactly what you'd like to be done, and they can make sure that it is.
And again, we also have systems in place. So we have like spreadsheets and task management tools, and communication is on point and everything. So it's super simple.
And these SOPs have just been created over the years and been perfected. It wasn't just in one day you came out with this amazing system, right?
Yeah, but I also think SOPs are really overrated. You know, like when I ask Amazon sales tell me like I'm going to hire someone, I need to create all of these SOPs before I hire them, right? And I tell them no, because how many SOPs do you have currently that you look at every single day to do some tasks? 0, right? So what I tell them is just like there's so much information on YouTube, it's ridiculous, right? So you can just tell them, look, to create a shipment, go to YouTube, look for how to create a shipment, right? And create a shipment that way. Or you just copy paste the YouTube link video. And what we do is we use everything with videos. So let's say there is not a tutorial for something, let's say brand analytics, and I want to show something in that tool. So I will just go in, I record a short video, and then what my team needs to do, the employee, what they need to do is they need to write the SOP. They are the ones writing it, because when they write it and I go over it, I can see if they got it or not. If I write the whole thing and I do a video and everything, then when they go ahead and do it, I don't know what they understood from it. Like, the way to learn the most is when you teach someone else. That's how you learn. So when they kind of teach themselves, when writing the SOP, when they kind of teach someone else, that's when they learn the most. And if that's not even clear, they can record another video on top of mine. And that's the new SOP.
Oh my God, I love this. Yeah, I've never heard of it being done this way. It's always been done where the employee is the one that records, or somebody in the team records the video and gives the instructions. And then you're right, like what we perceive as right, somebody that's watching the same thing, they may see it as a different way. This is very clever. I love that.
And also, like, sellers, I think too much about, like, I need to set some expectations for the employees. They need to feel like this is a real company, a real business. Like, nobody cares. It's okay that you work from home with your laptop on your bed. It's fine. Nobody really cares. I think all they care about is obviously they get paid and they actually like working with you and for you. And I also believe in the goals and vision you have for your company. I think that's what's important, much more than a work environment or whatever you want to call it. So they don't care. You don't have SOPs. They don't care you're not organized. Just take use of your employees to build that business you really want. They can help you do that. People are much smarter than you think they are once you give them some credit. So,
wow, I love that. So your employees stay with you. Once they get hired, they don't want to leave you, right?
Until now, nobody left, I think. Since I hired like in this model, like the 7 people didn't leave me. In Israel, so far, no one left. So yeah, only a few people. But yeah, hopefully it will stay that way.
I love it. And you're are you going to speak at the Billion Dollar Summit? You
Yeah,
mentioned before
yeah.
that you're going to be there. That's amazing. I'd love that. Any other speaking engagements you have for the rest of the year or next year coming up that people
Not
can
really. So I
catch
have my own event actually. So Top Dog Summit is
up?
an event we did 3 years in a row in Israel, again for bigger sellers. We were supposed to do it in Bulgaria in 2020, but that obviously didn't happen. We might do it at the end of this year, but I think we are pushing it a bit, and it will probably be Q1 of next year, by the looks of it. So can't wait for that one. I mean, there are so many people that we have over 50% coming back every year, and we just like hang out and everything. So can't wait to see everyone again. And I can also say, at least from my side, so I think entrepreneurs in general, they like new things, I can say. So most don't really like running a business. They kind of like building a business. So I think that's why a lot are looking to sell as well, kind of start over again, because that's what they like to do. But I can also say that this is why a lot of sellers go to events. Like you're just sitting at home working on your business all day, and that really gives you that boost of energy when you go to an event. Doesn't matter, like the lecture, everything is fine, but it's the networking, it's meeting new sellers and old sellers that you know for a while and everything. So that's what really gives you a boost of energy, I think, to kind of go back home and grind again, and then after a few months go again to an event. And that's what did it for me, at least. That's why I really enjoy speaking at events and everything, but that's what kept me on for the longest, I think, just going to a lot of events.
I love it. This makes so much sense. Entrepreneurs love starting a business, you said, but
Yeah,
not running it, right?
yeah.
This makes so much sense now. No wonder. That's great. So you haven't switched to the virtual model, right? You said the Top Dog Summit. Did you do that online
No,
or you just skipped it all?
no. It's like the whole point of Top Dog. Like we have in Top Dog, we have 6 or 7 speakers over 3 days, and I'm one of the speakers, and I give like a 30-minute talk usually because I'm just hosting the event.
Yeah.
The whole point, like the whole thing we are doing is just brainstorming in the tables and just hanging out, like going to bars and just, I don't know, whatever it is. So it's not about the lectures or the content, or because I always say like the knowledge is in the room, like when we are in the room. So we just share ideas and strategies, and we just give like assignments, you can say. So let's say we are showing a few products on the screen, just say each table now launches one of these products, and we just discuss, how you're going to launch it and everything. So everyone just brainstorms. But yeah, I just missed that event, so hopefully
I,
that will happen.
I love that. I'm glad you say that. I know every time I talk to you, I know you're always as honest as you always are. You're like, no, virtual events.
I
I'm
think
not
people are really sick of that, are sick of like all of these Zoom calls, and I get it. I've been using Zoom for 3 years. I don't really care. Like I've been doing this consulting thing with Zoom long before COVID hit. So yeah, I think like everyone is kind of sick of that and kind of miss like live events and everything. But again, Amazon keeps changing things during COVID, so you have to stay on point of everything you're doing. So either join a community, take a course, sign up to a mastermind. What it doesn't really matter, but you have to talk to other sellers. And because even if you have a team, just talk to your team all day. They cannot inspire you. They cannot like tell you what's going on in Amazon. It doesn't really work that way. You
I
have
love
to
that.
bounce off ideas with other sellers.
Yeah. Do you have a routine? How do you manage all the businesses that you have and all the hours in your day? Do you have a set schedule or are you kind of flexible? What is your personality like? Your work personality?
Yeah, so I think what I try to do is at least work in like short sprints, I would say. So if I have a project like Simplified, for example, is a 10-week course, and that was like a 10-week sprint, you can say. Because every week I had to prepare the content for next week. Like it wasn't prepared before I did it. So like I asked questions for the people, what do you want from this content title? Like what do you expect? And I just prepared what they wanted. So that's kind of how I do things. I usually prefer to just start before even doing anything. But I really like to take like projects and then finish them, and then that's it. And then either they're running on their own or I'm just done with that project. But with daily routines, so I have 2 small kids, a 3-year-old and a 3.5-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. So some nights we need to get up, and mornings are kind of like we need to get up, get into kindergarten and everything. So it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything, obviously. And in the afternoons, I really try to be with them. Like today is rare. It's 6 p.m. here. almost 7 now, and it's like, that like Danny also asked me to jump on a podcast with him, and I said, look, I don't do calls at this time. Like, I'm with my wife and kids, during this time. So it's very rare to catch me like on this point to do calls, because from like 4 to 7, 8, I'm just with them, and then at the evenings I either do like one call with the US or just hang out with my wife, and that's it. So
I love that. So you dedicate a lot of time
in the mornings, and that's it, in the afternoon, and like a bit, and that's it if I can.
I love it. So you dedicate a lot of time to your family. Seems like work is done in shorter times now rather than like a few years ago, and now you spend most of your time with your family.
One thing I can, definitely. One thing I can say, and this is, I think, might speak to a lot of people listening. So when I started, I had a full-time job, not worth mentioning because it's hopefully my last. It was like my first and last probably job ever, but when I quit and I went to Amazon full-time, I didn't have any kids. I mean, me and my wife were dating and everything. And I had all of this free time available, and I didn't really know how to manage it. I didn't really know what to do. So I wasn't really effective. I was on Facebook all day or whatever it was. And what really keeps me going is when I stay busy. When I have like a lot going on, that really helps me to kind of be efficient. Mm-hmm. I know it's not for everyone, obviously, to do what I'm doing, or I'm sure that you are kind of the same way, probably. But for some people, it's not really like my schedule is exploding. Like I have calls all the time and everything, and I block like my calendar for like my own time. The calendar is like the big boss, right, of ours. So I had so many calls today, for example, with a lot of sellers and everything. So I mean, but that's my choice, right? That's what I wanted for myself. So for me, that's what really kept me going. And when I know I have just 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week with my team in Amazon, I really need to make an impact in that time, because that's the time I have for them, and we really need to make it happen. If I had like 24/7 for them, nothing will really move along. That's how I feel, at least.
Wow, thank you. I want to thank you so much for being here. I know this is a time away from your family, and I know our listeners will really appreciate you just giving us little insights, because I know we always talk about Amazon, but I feel like this gives us a more look into Tomer's life. So we really appreciate it. And I'm not going to take any more of your time. I know you said people can find you on your website. Anywhere else where people can reach you? Are you pretty active on Facebook? Any other social media?
Facebook is the best way. You could just message me anytime on Facebook. So yeah, happy to chat with any seller at any level, really. I mean, I think this year was difficult to everyone, and I'm just happy to meet more sellers. That's the truth. So yeah.
Thank you for today, and we'll see you at the $1 Billion Summit. If you decide to come in early, let us know, and we will see you soon, Tomer.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you all so much, Isabella. It was a pleasure. So, thank you.